This video will walk you through incremental analysis for sell or process further, also called joint costs. The basic decision rule in sell or process further is if we process further, we should process it as long as the incremental revenue from such processing exceeds the incremental processing cost. So let's go through that one more time. We should process further as long as the incremental revenue from the processing exceeds the incremental cost. And remember, incremental means the change. So as long as if we process something further, let's say we take milk and process it further into cream. Well, the processed milk further into cream it'll cost us additional cost, and we will do it as long as the additional revenue covers that additional cost. So incremental revenue is the increase in sales which results from processing the product further. A says many manufacturers have the option of selling the products at a given point in the production cycle or continue to process with the expectation of selling them at a later point at a higher price. B says the basic decision rule is process further as long as the incremental revenue from such processing exceeds incremental processing cost. That's really the nut right there. C, in many industries, a number of end products are produced from a single raw material and a common production process. These multiple end products are referred to as joint products because at a certain point in time from the common product we can then do some additional processing to make it additional products. For example, we can have unfinished furniture, and then if we want to, the second process that would cost us more money would be to varnish it and paint it. Well, the additional cost for varnishing and painting it must be able to be covered by the incremental revenue from selling it as a finished product versus unfinished furniture. And then D says all costs incurred prior to the point at which two products are separately identifiable, the split-off point, are called joint cost. And all prior costs, so like again here, if we're talking about if we've got common products, and then from here we have the split-off point, and we incur joint cost up to this time, these are irrelevant because the joint cost is the same through here. It's the new cost and the new revenue that's relevant. And it tells you in E, joint product costs must be allocated to individual products, frequently done based on the relative sales value of the joint products. So under this common products, they have this joint cost. You normally don't have any way of allocating except based on usually revenue or number of units that we produce from each type of product coming from this common product. Then when we have what we call the split-off point, we then can track more directly the different types of products because they have specialized processes. So they have specialized processes that we can track more directly to the individual products after the split-off point. And then F says the allocation of joint product costs is important for determination of product costs, but is irrelevant. So you notice again, like I said in my drawing, it's irrelevant for any sell or process further decision since these joint costs are sunk cost. They have already been incurred and cannot be avoided by any subsequent decision. So all this here, which is up to the split-off point where joint cost is incurred, is irrelevant. It's sunk cost. Because our company will incur this cost no matter what we do. It's from here on that is a new decision to make. Should we process it further? So this is my process further point. So let's see how this works in a real problem. So Brooks Chemical Corporation produces an oil-based chemical product which it sells to paint manufacturers. In 2010, the company incurred $340,000 of costs to produce 40,000 gallons of chemical. The selling price of the chemicals is $11 per gallon. The cost per unit to manufacture a gallon of chemicals is presented below. So you get the direct materials, direct labor, variable, and fixed overhead. Then it tells you the company is considering manufacturing the paint itself. If the company processes the chemical further and manufactures the paint itself, the following additional cost per gallon will be incurred. Direct materials of $1.70, direct labor of $60, variable manufacturing overhead of 50 cents. No increase in fixed manufacturing overhead is expected. And we can then sell it for $15. So we want to use incremental analysis to decide, should we sell as is or process further? So the first thing we have to do is talk about what are we selling it for, as is versus processing further. Well, we currently sell it for $11 per unit, versus if we process further, we could sell it for $15 per unit. That would be additional future revenue if we process further of $4 per unit. Then we take our cost per unit, and we have our direct materials, our direct labor, our variable cost for overhead. Again, I'm going to put the fixed costs in here. You don't have to, and you're going to see why. And then we would see what our total is here. Total costs. And then we would see what is our net income per unit. So we know our direct materials is $6. Our direct labor, $1.20. Our variable overhead is 80 cents. Our fixed overhead is 60. So that's 720, 860 is our total cost, as we know from above. 11 minus 860 says we are currently making $2.40 per unit. They tell us if we do this additional process, direct materials will be additional $1.70, so $6 plus $1.70 would be $7.70. Direct labor, we would add 60 cents to our already $1.20, so that would be $1.80. For variable overhead, we'd add 50 cents, 80 cents plus 50, it's $1.30. There is no increase, so this is still 60 cents. So again, many online homework systems want you to eliminate this and not even have this row for fixed cost overhead, because there is no change between the difference in these two choices. When there is no difference in the alternatives and your change to net income is 0, you should just skip that row. There is no reason to have that information there. So if I add up my cost here, I would get $11.40. 15 minus $11.40 is $3.60. So the column that we're going to focus on is what's the change in net income. So you can see we'd have an increase here of $1.70 per unit. There's the increase of 60 cents per unit, and there's the increase of cost of 50 cents per unit. So $4 of new revenue per unit less $1.70 plus 60 would be $2.30, plus 50 would be $2.80. So $2.80 minus $4 of new revenue, I would see an increase of revenue per unit of $1.20. So since revenue would be increasing by $1.20, that is telling me, sorry, I'm trying to go slow enough so I can get this where I want it to be. So in summary, our good. I don't know what my thing is doing to me here. Okay, try that one more time. So in summary, what I'm trying to say here is that the incremental revenue, which was $4, covered the change in processing cost, which is $2.80, giving us new net income of $1.20 per unit. So since our incremental revenue covered the change in incremental cost, we should process further.